whatever you want to do.
Okay.
If you don't want to answer, say, I don't want to answer.
Okay.
I don't think
Okay, that's fair.
there's no gotcha
Okay.
questions on here. So the first one is, how has being a parent impacted your artwork?
I would say that I have less time to make artwork. So I'm more deadline driven. I think my time management is probably better, just managing projects. And then I think spending my evenings reading to my child and looking at children's books has probably infused some more color and more vibrant shapes and probably a little more playfulness into my work over the past year and a half.
How did the NPR thing with Ulysses, how did that happen?
So I had just gone out on my own to freelance, and I was trying to keep a really strict schedule, and I was just watching the news one morning, and I saw that the Pope had decided to quit. So I thought that was like a really big deal, and I decided to illustrate a hat rack with the Pope hat on it and just put it up on the internet as like a statement. And I had never done like a political cartoon or anything like that. I really was just trying to get into a routine and you know, stick to a schedule and be at my desk at a certain time since I was like out on my own and had freedom. And so I did that drawing, and this really smart guy who worked in the office that I rented space in like walked by, and he was like, "Oh, that's really funny." And I was like, "Oh, like, well, if someone smart understands it, that's cool." And so I put it out online, and a few people said, "Hey, that's really cool. You should do it again tomorrow." So I just kept doing it. And probably about 6 months after I started, I just randomly got a call from someone at the head of NPR, and they said, "Hey, we want to do a week-long collaboration with you and have you illustrate morning edition stories, and we'll interview you." And you know, I went down to SETV, and like David Green was on the other end of the headphones, and I was just so excited. So it was just, I think it just kind of got passed around and worked out that way.
What news story you've sketched has affected you the most?
Oh, that's really hard. I think there have been some assignments that I've gotten that were for NPR, so they were for the news, that have been around death. And those have been the most impactful to me. I've also done some stories for Stat News, which is part of the Boston Globe. I illustrate their monthly column for end of life news, and that's just been really powerful to hear people's stories and the challenges they faced and the tragedies they've had, and then the ways they've overcome. I think those stories have been most impactful.
What is one piece of advice you would give to young creatives?
I think that being prolific and making as much work as you can is my best advice. Not that you have to do it every day, and you don't have to do it in the same sketchbook, and you don't have to do it in the same manner, but just making time to create something every day so that you can think through your ideas and develop your sense of self and voice. And the more you do it, the more opportunity you have to grow, and you'll find your niche. I think just making stuff, even if it's bad, is worthwhile.
What's the last book that you read?
Like a novel or a kid's book?
That's interesting. Could you do both?
Sure. So the book I read last night to my child, which I love, was called The Way Home at Night, I think. And it just came out last year. It's very visual. It's a kid's book about walking home at night, and it has all these cool animals in it. And there's a drawing of a goat taking a pie out of the oven, and it's just really beautiful. So we've been reading that every night. And then I think the last big book I read was The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I loved it. It was great. And that was a really long time ago, but that's the last book I read.
Name a few of your happy things.
Happy things. I have a really fat cat. When I say she's fat, I'm not exaggerating. When she comes down the stairs at our house, sometimes we think it's each other. She's really big. I love my coffee maker. I think that's one of my happy things. And I don't know, I think those are my two happy things, my cat and my coffee maker.
Favorite daily ritual for cultivating creativity?
Probably just drawing, just sketching from life and taking down notes. But I would say sketching is probably my biggest thing.